What's going on, y'all? So originally I was going to do a video for the handlebars, the risers, and replacing those with some bushings on the triple trees. Ran into some snags. It's going to take me a little longer to get parts in order, even some custom parts made for it. There isn't a huge aftermarket support for the bushings and the risers on these 1100s. So a couple things are going to have to be kind of tweaked and done how we want them. Now that being said, I decided I'm going to go ahead and do another video just doing some cleanup on the bike, getting rid of things I don't want, and try to make this look cleaner while we're waiting on those risers and other handlebar parts to get buttoned up. Alright, so starting off in the back of the bike, we got rid of the saddlebags, the saddlebag brackets, set them aside on a shelf. Got some OEM replacement hardware here. These are 8mm by 35. And then you can tell I'm still missing bolts here, but they're on order. That's a 10 by 40, if I remember correctly. Now going to the back of the bike, further, we're going to go ahead and remove this wire, or this light, and then open up the housing, remove the wiring, and that'll clean that up. After the DOT inspection, we might do something with all the reflectors and all that. Haven't decided yet. Coming around up here, we're going to remove the luggage rack, kind of just clean up the back of the bike, set that aside, put it on a shelf. Then what we'll do is we'll come in here, we'll pull the seats, we're going to pull the tank. Eventually we're going to need access to all the throttle cables, the choke cable, once we get the bars up and set up. Now, coming down here, I want to remove the air horns. I want to remove all the decorative tape that burned off that Dad put on there. We're going to pull this wire, which is all part of the air horn wiring, get that cleaned up. And then in the very front of the bike, on these bikes, there is a small canister that is an evap canister. I want to get rid of that. I want to just clean up all the hoses, run minimal hosing, so we have barely anything on the bike. It'll clean up the front end of the bike there a little bit. All that hosing coincides up under the tank in here that we can't see. The other thing I'm thinking about taking off and setting aside is these highway pegs. This bike isn't going to be on long hauls, not right off the bat, and they're a little too high and a little too short for my liking. And then we're going to get to the front of the bike, and don't mind the mess because I'm in the middle of another video for you guys. But up here, I want to take these lights off and mount them closer to the forks because we're not putting the fairing back on for now. Or I might relocate the turn signals up higher and out of the way on a less bulky mounting system. Haven't decided that out yet. So let's go ahead and get started with taking off some things and finish cleaning this up. Alright, to get this luggage rack off, you've got 4 bolts and here, and then these 2 are already taken off. So what we'll do is undo the other side, pull that off and set it aside. We'll see how different this looks. So much cleaner without the luggage rack. Now we'll go and take the 2 screws out of our taillight. We'll cut the 4 wire ties here and pull the wiring back out. Well, I thought removing the lens would give me access to the wiring, but it does not. Honda apparently has this bolted in to the back of the fender, so I'm going to need to grab a 10mm wrench and reach in there and pull the whole housing off. But in the meantime, I can go ahead and cut this wire and cut these zip ties. Alright, now that we got this done, we'll figure out how to get to the back bolts. Kind of hard to see in here. That's really tight, but there you go. These 2 are part of what's holding the fender on, or the light on, as well as this third one down here. So, right there. Once those 3 10mm nuts off, you pull the taillight housing. So with that loose, we should be able to pull this housing off just ever so gently, because he's just sitting on little rubber pads. So on this back taillight, we had to unscrew the bracket. It's 3 screws, 1, 2, and 3. Dad soldered the wiring in here and here. Went ahead and pulled all that. We'll go ahead and reassemble this, put it back on. Eventually, we'll be taking this all apart and getting cleaner chrome parts and whatnot. But like I said, I want to just get it running for now. So we'll get it good looking, but not how clean it will be once this is all said and done. So here we have the back end done. Lights cleared up, wiring's cleared up. Now we'll go ahead and start taking the seats off and start working our way forward to all that stuff. Alright, so we took off a 12mm bolt. 12mm bolt. Now we've got the seat off, the back seat off. We're going to start working on taking the backrest off as well. So here we have the seat. You guys can see my big seat. You got the back passenger seat and the backrest. Now the backrest bolts in down here. Just a couple 10mm nuts. We're going to pull those off, bolt it back together, and then boom, that's done. So we've got the first nut off. These are barely even fit on here all the way. So, and they're really loose, so it won't take long to get them off. And yes, I know it's a ratcheting wrench, but I don't have to use it to pull it free. So that is off. Now we'll go ahead and separate these two here in a second. You gotta remove the handle, like so. And then separate everything here. So you guys can see how this little handle for the backrest is bolted separately. Right there and right there. And then I said backrest, your back seat. Now we'll pull the back seat back onto the front seat, and this assembly will be complete. Finished seat, back to stock with no backrest. I'll be able to swing my leg over, no issue. We'll mock it up and just see the difference. So as you guys can see, saddlebags, brake light wiring gone, sissy bar with no luggage rack, seat with no backrest. Now we can start working our way forward, working on the air horns, the evap system, and pulling the tank. Here we have the air horn trumpets. Each one is held on with a 10mm nut. And then we have, of course, the compressor mounted down low and all the existing wiring. We're going to start with the top trumpet to give us some room. And then we can start working our way trumpet by trumpet. You know, all too often I get into making these videos and doing this kind of stuff, and I forget the reason I do this. This is supposed to be fun and relaxing. Me stressing over fitment of parts or not being able to find certain things kind of takes away from it. So getting out here like this, doing a short video, just cleaning things up, it's kind of just well worth it. So this next one looks like there's just a big bolt holding this whole monster plate that I can get to now. We'll go ahead and break that bolt out and pull this thing out of here. Air horns are off. I still have to fish the wiring back in here, go back to the original horn. I got to come in here with a 10mm socket and get this grounding wire off. But so much cleaner. I might actually leave these on here now that it's all cleaned up. Looks like there might be more footroom. One of the other things Dad did is he put this fake air cleaner on here for storage. I'm not a huge fan of it. It does make it look like a Harley, but I don't even know what he put in here. You don't need to carry a boatload of tools if you're going to have a saddlebag or anything like that. So I'm going to go ahead and take this out. We're going to go ahead and see what's in there and go from there. Alright, so I took the fake air cleaner off. I'm going to have to find a factory Allen head bolt, or at least a replacement. Probably can just go to Lowe's and get one. I'm not sure if I want to find an OEM one. And then down here, this bolt was kind of rounded, so we're going to find a new one. Just pull up an engine diagram, start finding parts. The other thing is there is tape on these, like decorative black tape. I'll show you on the other side. We started peeling that off. I'm going to try some Goo Gone. There's that big old honking air cleaner. Obviously I have to clean the rest of the motor, but there's a quick peek of what it looks like after the sticker's removed. And here's the other side for reference. This had the same type of crap on the other side. So we'll take this off just like that, clean it all off with some Goo Gone, and then polish it up. We're getting there. Making it ours, making it clean. We have those stickers removed from either side of the casing. We removed the highway pegs. My dad put some all thread in here. It's not a bad way to go. Kind of a cheap way to go. Need to find the original bolt. I believe I found the part number for it. So we'll start looking that up here in the near future and see what that's going to run us. I'm a big fan of OEM hardware. I don't want to put just random bolts in here. I want everything to be as it should. Now we're going to start taking the tank off. It's a 12 millimeter bolt here, sorry guys, and an 8mm headed bolt here. We'll disconnect the lines, set the tank aside, and start accessing the carburetors and figuring out how we want to run the choke cable. Here we have the tank off, and it looks like we have 20 pounds of crap in a 10-pound bag. There's all kinds of hoses. The intake is kind of interesting. Instead of drawing from the side of the bike, kind of like the Harley does, Honda Shadow comes up and over through the frame backbone and then down to the air box. There's all kinds of evap hoses. You have to do some digging. I want to see what I can remove. If I can remove the evap hoses and other things and make more room in here, we will. I need to also figure out routing of the choke cable, because we have our choke cable here. It comes up to this bunch of cables up here, and then it runs back down the right side of the bike. So we'll roll around over there and see what we can find. Okay, so we got to taking this all apart. I kind of had to charge my phone. We got the carburetors off. You got this line that runs to your air filter housing. This line here, this larger line, runs to your valve covers. Same as this one. You keep these three lines, and then there is a fuel line here and one more across the back side, right in front of my finger here, that supply fuel to the carburetors. Now, we had a whole mess of lines, and I'll show them to you here in a minute, that ran down to the canister that I still have to take off. Here's a few of our miscellaneous hoses and solenoid or valves for the evap system. Over here I have the carburetor sitting on the table. Actually, let me show you that while we're moving here. This mounts to the frame and has a line that runs down to the vacuum canister, and then two of the evap canister, and then two lines that feed it. We have, this is another one of the recirculating valves that feeds down to that canister. We get rid of these. We still have all our water lines and stuff up here, but we'll have less crap still. I need to clean this up, sort some things, and go from there. Here is the bottom of my carburetors. What I want to do is take the bowl off, and we're going to clean just some pilot jet, because that's our starting circuit. Usually that's what's gummed up when it sits for a long time. So we'll just clean some air through it and inspect the float to make sure everything's good. So we have our float bowl off. Here's our float. Now, looks like my dad drained the carburetor before he parked it. Looks pretty clean in here. I don't know if I have to worry about these. We still might pull them apart and just put air through them and make sure they're still good. I'm trying to show you guys through the jet, but you guys can tell that is clean and clear. That one's not gummed up. See the daylight coming through it? So we'll put this one back in and pull the next one. Now if you look at this jet, even with clean, we can't see any light through it, even no matter how small that hole is. So we'll put some carb cleaner through it, try to spray it out. Alright, so I used a small piece of wire and clean that out. Now this is our pilot jet. The pilot jet is smaller than the main jet. I should have told you guys that from the beginning. Usually this is the one that affects how it idles. So I'm trying to get it in the camera, but it's hard to hold. There. See? Nice and clean. Now I'll put this back together. Carburetors are cleaned. I didn't take them off and polish them or anything like that, go crazy with them. I just went ahead and basically cleaned the jets so we can get it running. Eventually, like I said, this thing will get a tear down and get cleaned up. Now let's talk about the California emissions stuff, evap system. These things have 3 vents, 2 fuel ports, and then a couple vacuum ports. If you're looking at the carburetor, this is like we're on the left-hand side of the bike, where your throttle cable is. You have a fuel line, and then on the right side you have another fuel line. Now, we have this is a float bowl vent, this is a float vent, and then this is another vent that goes to atmosphere. Now on the stock Honda Shadow Aeros, you have this little doohickey under the tank. Makes life easy, just hang it back underneath there, and that'll handle these 2 vents here like this. Now let's talk about what we can cap if we are not using the evap system. We can cap this line, and then just bear with me, guys. We can cap this one, and then you guys have this line here. Just put some little rubber vacuum cap covers on them, zip tie them down, make sure they're good. I believe that's all of them. Yeah, there's 3 to cap, and then you'd put a 1/4 inch, or actually almost a 3/8 inch hose here, bend that down the back of the frame, just in front of the rear tire, and that'll be a vent for that as well. With the carburetors done, I got to get some lines out of the way to get it all back in here. You guys can see I just plugged the ports with a trash bag. This is my breather tube. This is the breather tube that goes to the air filter. Then right here you have a fuel line. Back on the other side, we have another fuel line that I can't get my hand to, but it's right there. See right there? And then this is a coolant line that goes from our radiator over to the overflow tank, and I assume the overflow tank is back down in here somewhere near all the fuel pump and stuff. So what we'll do is we'll get all this stuff out of the way. We'll get the carburetor back in, or carburetors, there's 2, back in place, and get them situated. So here is this stock 1100 choke cable. 600 cable is known to be used because it's shorter if you want to relocate it. All we're going to do is transfer all these little ends and pieces here onto the 600, and then we can hang this under the front of the tank somewhere and figure out how we're going to mount that. So here we have our previous cable. You can tell it's about 2 feet long, maybe almost 2.5. And then we have our little 600 cable, and all these ends are put on there properly now. Now you put this on the carburetor. I'm going to put the long side to the right side carb, the short side to the left side carburetor. That way the choke cable comes out on the left side of the tank. Alright, so here we have the choke cable hooked up. You guys can see it's going to the carburetor here, and it runs the other side behind the carbs. What we're going to do is mount the tank and then try to figure out how to put a bracket on here to hold the choke. I still might move the choke back by the seat. I haven't decided that yet. So you guys can see the choke cable running through here, runs back, and it goes to the other side. Now I still need to put the breathers in here, up here, for these parts, and then I need to figure out a breather here. hopping around on stuff as usual. This hose runs all the way up to the evap canister. This is also for your vent for the bike. So what we're going to do is just cut this short, like here, and then aim this under the bike. Here's the evap canister and one of the valves. The other valve is sitting over here. All that crap is gone. Now, we still have a few things to button up on the bike as far as vent tubes. Let me show you that real quick. So here's the carburetor. We have to vent this tube to the outside. Have to vent these 3 tubes to the outside. And what I'm thinking I might do is just find a 3 into 4 or a 4-way like tube connector and just put a little pre-filter on it up in the under the tank somewhere, because it gets tight in here with all the crap. Then the other thing we still have to do is put a catch can back in here, which adds more to crap to the area. And the other thing I thought about doing with the catch can is just connecting all the tubes and not even putting a can back on it. But you're not really going to see under here, so that's not my biggest concern. What I wanted was this clean look under the front of the bike, minus the radiator and stuff. And then we still have to mount this cable. I haven't decided where it's going. I need to button everything up under the tank and get the seat put on it. Then we can figure out where it's going to go. Either it's going to mount somewhere up near the front, but more than likely I'm going to end up routing it towards the back like this, and then put a bracket somewhere so I can get to it easily. What I need to do is get the seat on it, the tank on it, and then this side cover. What else? Oh yeah, we cleaned the carburetors. Still need to get the cables on it. We are going to delete the push cable and just run a pull cable only. So that'll be in the next video. Triple trees will be finished up in that video as well, I think. Haven't decided if the triple tree video is going to be its own thing. A lot of stuff going on with that. So we're making swings. This thing is close to running. We need to just get it together. So this is the end of this video. Kind of hopped around. My wife's at PTA meetings right now. Kids are inside and I want some kid time. So we got some things done. Got some things knocked out. Project therapy sessions back home. That's a sore subject and for another video. Don't know where to start with that one. So once again, thanks for watching. God bless and take care. If you like what you saw, click the like and subscribe button. God bless.